So I want to remind people something that is the most important thing, especially when it comes to manifesting the things that you want, right? You have to do a spiritual reset. And a lot of people, like, especially within spiritual practices, we do spiritual baths, spiritual cleanses. The spiritual cleanse that I do, and I'm not saying that this is something that this is required, but this is what is going to make my point. I do a spiritual reset, which is another word for a spiritual cleanse. I like to shower first. Go ahead, get me in that shower. You feel me? Then when I get out of the shower, I then run warm water in the tub and I mix it with Epsom salt and sea salt. And sea salt is actually a natural way to cleanse the spirit. It is also another representation of Yemaya and I believe Olokun as well. So the orishas, when you're cleansing your body, you're cleansing your spirit, you're cleansing your soul, you're cleansing your mind. You're allowing yourself to have a reset, especially when you start to feel, when you go into stages of depression or you start to feel very overwhelmed, you start to have anxiety. And also, what is that? It also helps you to come back to yourself and in alignment. Wash away all the things, wash away that entire day, wash away whatever needs to be washed away, however you've been feeling, whatever has been making you feel low, like, low vibrational. Now, I will say this is not something that you need to do. No. A spiritual reset doesn't have to consist of spiritual practices. This is just a form of spiritual practices when you were practicing root work. A spiritual reset is when you decide to take a step back and you decide to self-reevaluate, okay? In many ways you can do that. I think a lot of people miss the point. Before I get there, I want to say this real quick. You cannot call in what you desire if you have not first released what no longer is alignment or serves you. You need to close the doors. See, a lot of people want to basically call in love, but haven't truly let go of the idea of not feeling like you're enough or you're worthy to be in a loving, desired, sacred connection. A lot of people want money, but have not let go of the negative mindset around money, right? And I know this from personal experience. I understand that in order for you to move on to the next step, you must first release what you are holding on to. Release anger, release frustration, release doubt, release fears. When you start to allow yourself to hold on to that, and then you then want to call in things into your life, that's not going to truly manifest the things you desire because you have not let go of that mindset. You haven't let go of those negative conscious beliefs. I don't want to call them negative because let's be honest with ourselves. And let's also be kind to ourselves. I don't want to call them negative beliefs. I just want to call them not so positive. I'll think of a word later, but they're not positive at all. Because when you are telling yourself these things and you're saying like you're still sticking to this script that no longer is in alignment with what you want and you're holding on to that, it's almost like you're trying to what Neville had said in one of his books, or not even just Neville. I think this is actually written within a scripture of the Bible. You're trying to pour new wine into dirty bottles, right? So you want to make sure that your vessel has released all of that energy, right? You want to release everything that is going to block out your desires, everything that is in the way, standing in the way of what you are truly wanting to manifest. You're going to have to let that go. And the reason I do spiritual cleanses is because it actually really helps me. It's not about just only, and this is the thing, During the spiritual cleanse, it's not about you calling in anything. This is what you want to do. You want to write down all the things of how you feel. You want to you want to be very transparent with yourself about how you feel about a lot of things that you want to manifest. Because truly, when we want to manifest things, we just want to go into okay, let me just affirm my new reality. It's not about affirming your new reality. It's not about you just dropping it and just saying, oh yeah, let me just let this go. A lot of coaches have tricked people into believing and thinking that, okay, you could just let it go so easily. Everybody is different, depending on the experiences that you've experienced in your life, depending on the trauma that you have gone through. We have to work with people who actually are having, they could have PTSD. A lot of individuals can go through a certain experience that leaves them feeling a certain way. So when they go out into the world, or when they want to re-experience this again, they may have a certain fear around that because they don't want to relive the same thing they already went through. And that's totally okay. Some of these coaches, I've heard them talk to certain individuals saying, it's your fault. It's your fault. What are you thinking? It's already done. You need to just do that. Baby, you have to go to the root of the problem. You can't just put a Band-Aid on a wound and not clean it. Like I said in my last video, you have to be willing to go to the root of the problem and ask yourself why you're feeling the way you're feeling. For example, myself, the reason I felt the way I felt around love is because I was always chasing love and validation. The reason I felt the way I felt around money is because it always came to a point where I didn't have any money. And it was so hard for me to obtain that money. And I could obtain it, but then it was hard for me to sustain it, like actually maintain money flow. So now what I've been doing is working on releasing the mind, releasing those not so positive subconscious beliefs around whether or not I'll be able to have the lifestyle I desire, or whether or not everything is working out in my favor. I decided to release that negative concept about we're just going to use negative that negative concept about around love. Because the truth is, I was chasing after individuals, so I was always putting them on a pedestal. And when I kept putting those people on a pedestal, I was then throwing out my boundaries. I was then throwing out my values. I was then losing my identity and losing myself in other people. And see, this is where a lot of people mess up when manifesting a specific person. You don't want to specifically worry about the person. I know a lot of you in the comments are going to say, well, Neville Goddard manifested his wife. Yes, but Neville Goddard did not think that she was a puppet. He was not trying to control her. That is operating from fear-based mindset, okay? And it's fear-based mongering. I think a lot of individuals, I hope I said that right. A lot of individuals have this thing where, okay, your specific person is a puppet. They have no mind of their own. That is not true. Every person who is experiencing a reality, they are experiencing that reality based on their decisions and their choices. So everybody has free will. You guys don't want to hear that because because deep down inside, if your SP wasn't to choose you, how would you feel? And I want you to ask yourself that question. Deep down inside, if you didn't get that $1,000, or if you didn't get the car or the house you wanted, how would you feel? We have to ask ourselves these questions and be realistic with ourselves. And when you get to the root of the problem, when you start to write down the reasons as to why you feel the way you feel about yourself, you then start to open a new door of saying, okay, now I know why I feel these things. Now I know why I look at myself in this way, or I have this negative concept around the things that I want to actually manifest in my reality. Because sorry, tongue tied, the things that I have experienced and the patterns that have been reoccurring consistently. Like, for example, we all grew up where our parents said money doesn't grow on trees. We've always been told that you want to get a 9-to-5, right? I was always told in my family, get up, go to school, and then go to work. My dad didn't believe in the whole college thing. He just felt you need to get a job. A job is the most important thing. That's what's going to be stable for you. That is what's going to bring in income. And because I was conditioned to think this way, later on in life, I believed that a job was the only way to go. I did not believe that me putting out my content or me doing something that I wanted to do, like following my passions, was going to, actually truly bring in income, right? Or I had this mindset of, well, that's not realistic. And because I had that mindset subconsciously, that's how I was going to operate in my everyday life. So a 9 to 5 was the way to go. But you see what I'm saying? So getting to the root of the problem of why you feel these things, and that's why I call it a spiritual reset. My spiritual reset is a lot different because it actually is about me doing spiritual practices, because I am a beginner of hoodooism. So ever do not do something that will not work for you. This is specifically, it works for me. Okay. This is not a practice that I just do and then it's just voila. No. This is a very consistent practice, and a lot of individuals have been doing this for many years, especially with my bloodline and my lineage of ancestors, my lineage. And a lot of Black enslaved people who were here enslaved in America. So hoodooism is a African spiritual practice, and it is a part of Black culture, and it has been around for many generations. But that is not what I'm telling you to do. When I tell you to do a spiritual reset, that is going to consist of you getting to the root of why you feel the way that you feel about yourself. And you have to also realize this: if you're going to manifest a specific person, you cannot lose yourself in that person. And going back on what I said about Neville, he became aligned with love, right? When Abdullah told him, when he came knocking on Abdullah's door, sad because he wasn't able to go to Barbados, Abdullah opened the door and said, I can't hear you. You're in Barbados. Okay. So, and like I said in my last video, Abdullah took from the African spiritual science. He is the actual mentor and teacher behind these teachings that Neville Goddard decided to later on teach to the rest of the world. So understand and remember that. But know that your conscious is the most powerful thing. Your subconscious state of mind is the most powerful thing. You are not bringing anything into you because you already have everything that you want, everything that you truly desire. You just have to go deep within yourself, and you have to make that decision. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be making more videos and more reels. I have not stopped making videos. I don't want y'all to be thinking Alizé is not making videos. I am. Make sure you guys follow my TikTok. I'm very active on there. It's Lorraine LaShawn. Once again, that's Lorraine LaShawn. And then my Instagram is Sean. I do post videos on there. My Instagram is Sean956299. I don't know why I put that there. Or Sean Z, SHAWNZZEE. Now look, I don't know. I'm not savvy with all this, baby. I'm old school. But yes, go ahead, and the link is in my bio. So make sure you follow me for more videos. And yes, I will be giving you guys lots of videos when it comes to this as well. Yes, we'll be talking about manifestation and things like that, spiritual practices, but we'll also be doing entertaining videos as well. So that's coming soon. But yes, peace.